welcome back to another video. So today we have something super special for you. We are going to be interviewing Dr. Doug Lisle, who is the co-author of the book The Pleasure Trap. He also works as a psychologist at True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California. And today we're just going to be talking to him, asking him questions that you guys have asked us on my Instagram, and just covering some of the most popular questions that we get about weight loss, and also talking a lot about the psychological aspects of losing weight on a plant-based lifestyle. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to be breaking it up into sections of each question, and then at the very end, once I post all those videos, we'll be posting the full-length video on my channel as well. So I think one of the next biggest things that people struggle with is when they come to a whole foods plant-based diet, especially when they're watching people on YouTube and seeing people eat just huge quantities of food, whether they're fruitarian or raw vegan or just starch-based. I think a lot of people, obviously we eat a lot more food than someone on a standard American diet just because the lower caloric density. But some people will say that they're eating 1,500 calories a day and they're totally stuffed and they can't eat anymore, and they're worried about the fact that because of this, I don't even know what to call it. It's just this standard that's set that you have to eat 2,500 calories a day or you're going to damage your metabolism. And these people have weight to lose. They want to lose weight, they're overweight, but they're worried that if they're under eating or eating 1,500 calories a day and they're full and they can't eat anymore, are they hurting themselves, or should they just eat as much as they want to eat?
Oh my goodness, what a good problem. This is what essentially is missing here from a lot of people's understanding is essentially what we're going to call homeostatic drive mechanisms. So let's suppose that you started to do some interesting habit like holding your breath. So once a minute you would hold your breath for about 10 or 15 seconds. Someone might say, oh my God, you're going to damage yourself, you're going to be short of oxygen, and then you're going to do brain damage as a result of that. Because how do you know that you're going to catch up enough to make sure that you have enough oxygen back in your blood after you hold your breath? Answer, we've got automated mechanisms that make sure that we idealize the amount of oxygen that's in our blood. Okay? These are very sensitive mechanisms in the brain, but they're not going to let you make this mistake. Sometimes that would be the equivalent of also saying, oh, well, you better be careful when you go to Palm Springs for a vacation because it's really hot there. And, if you get caught outside and you're not thinking about it, you might burn to a crisp. You got to make sure that you look for shades. No, you don't. You have automated mechanisms in your skin that are detecting when the sun is really hot that encourage you to get into a tree, for goodness sakes. Okay? In the same way, people that are overweight have excess stored fat. And it's going to turn out that there are automated mechanisms in the system that are desperately trying to get them to lose the weight. Now, it turns out that people sometimes think that they have thresholds, for example. They're 100 pounds overweight and they lose 30 pounds on some new diet change that they make, and then they reach what they think is a set point. And they say, well, that's where I was in high school, and now I've lost back down to that weight now, so now I'm stuck. No, you're not stuck. Your weight is a compromise or a result of a multitude of factors. Number one, your genetics. Number two, your diet. Number three, your exercise level. Okay, those three things are going to combine as a math problem to essentially determine where it is that your weight is going to stabilize at under any given behavior pattern. So, and there is no such thing as a nervous system that would have to be stabilized at 50 pounds overweight if you're doing things properly. There's no way. People need to understand that there are automated mechanisms in the system that will drive animals, of which we are the fanciest one there is, that they're to drive animals to actually eat over time the appropriate amount of food to idealize their health. That's what it is. That's why you're not going to see an overweight gazelle, even though there's plenty of grass out there and no predators. All you have to do is go to the San Diego Wild Animal Park and see that they can get all the grass they want. They don't have to run away from any predators, but these animals are not getting overweight. That's because they're simply eating the diet of a natural history. They're breathing the right amount of oxygen. They're drinking the right amount of water. They're getting the right amount of sleep, and they're eating the right amount of food. These are all automated mechanisms built into the hypothalamus of your brain that you don't have to worry about it. So if you're an overweight person and you are now eating the diet of your natural history, finally, right, so we're finally eating proper kinds of food for our species, food that looks an awful lot like food that would have been eaten in Africa 500,000 years ago by people who were digging up potatoes and wild rice and cooking that at the end of the day along with all the raw food. Okay? This is exactly what we are built for. If you eat the food that you're built for, what's going to happen is the amount of fat storage on your body is going to go right to where it's supposed to be, just like your sleep mechanism and your thirst mechanism, etc., will drive you to the proper place. And so, if you are not eating very much calories, if you're eating 1,400 or 1,500 calories a day, and you are shedding weight, that's beautiful. That just means that your system is now headed to an appropriate equilibrium. It's going to be better, you're going to be more fit, you're going to be healthier, you're going to look better, and you're going to feel better about yourself. That's just how that's going to work, and for goodness sakes, there's nothing in the world that says that you need 2,500 calories a day.
Okay? So once people actually, once they shed the weight and they get to like their ideal weight or where their body wants to be, their hunger drive will go up and they will eat the right amount to maintain that weight and their energy levels. So they're not going to die of starvation.
Oh no, of course not. No, they're going to shed the weight, and we don't even know what's going to happen to the hunger drive when they get there. For all we know, it might be 1,500 calories a day is appropriate to maintain their weight at 5'4" and 120 pounds. When their hunger drive was, when they were eating 2,500 calories a day or 3,000, when they were gaining the weight in the first place, what was happening is that they were simply eating food that is too small. The food was highly concentrated, just like overly concentrated fuel, and the system couldn't detect how many calories they were getting. The system thought they were getting 1,500, but they're really getting 3,000 because there wasn't any fiber in the food or any water in the food, etc.
So even like fruit, like whole natural fruits, like dates or nuts or seeds or just like super concentrated things can make you gain weight?
Sure. Yeah, those foods would not be natural foods in the sense that they're not going to be in unlimited quantities 12 months a year to our species. So these would have been intermittent issues. This is one of the reasons you've got the ability to sometimes gain weight too much. And then you have systems that turn on to stop it and turn it back. You can imagine that there would have been times that for 6 weeks, the nuts and avocado and salmon or whatever it is, any rich food would have been running in the environment for a short period of time, and our ancestors would have gobbled it up. And at that point, they might gain 5 or 10 pounds of excess fat because they're systematically overeating because the food is too rich. Then what's going to happen is the season's going to change, and they're going to go back to a diet that is more normal for the species, and that fat is going to fade away. And so this is so we would have had seasonal changes, and we would have essentially not been able to stop ourselves from overeating on overly rich diets when they happen in our natural history. But nature would have stopped us from continuing by the fact that those rich foods would not be omnipresent.